Welcome back, guys. We are doing our last set of notes in Unit 2, so go ahead and flip to that table of contents. We are going to be on page 26 this time, and this one is graphing systems of inequalities. Okay, so graphing systems of inequalities. So whenever you get that written down, you're going to either be given a sheet of paper that looks like this, or you may have had to print it out. Whichever one, you're going to take this sheet of paper and just cut it down the middle and then tape it down to page 26. So go ahead and pause this video and get that done, and then push play when you're done. Okay, so now that we have this taped in, we're going to take a look at our note set. There's only 2 examples on this one. So I want to actually talk about inequalities from the last time. So the last time there were 4 steps. The first one was to check to make sure that it was in slope-intercept form. So when we look at these first 2 right here, they're in slope-intercept form. So I actually get to skip step 1. Step 2 was use the slope and y-intercept to actually graph them. Step 3 was solid or dashed line. And then step 4 was, do you shade above or below? So you're going to use that same idea for this. Because remember, graphing systems just means that you have graphed 2 of them on the same graph. So you're going to not pay attention to this one, get this one graphed. So you're going to graph it, shade it, and then you're going to graph this one and then shade it, preferably with a different color so that you can see what I'm going to show you. So we're going to go ahead and graph this first one. Okay, so since these are in slope-intercept form, I can automatically start graphing them. So when I look at this one, I have a slope. So that's the m, that's the number in front of x. That's a -1. Anytime we have a whole number like this, we can put it over 1. So this is my slope. This tells me how I'm going to move. My y-intercept is a -2. So let's go ahead and graph this one. I'm going to start at -2 on my y-axis, and then I'm going to move according to my slope right here. I'm going to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. You need to get enough points so that way you can draw your line and it actually be a straight line. I like to get several. So there are my points. So now I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm going to draw the line and I'm going to shade. But remember, those 2 things depend 100% on this inequality. So this inequality is a greater than. Since it does not have that or equal to bar, I'm going to draw a dashed line. So I'm going to line my dots up and I'm going to draw a dashed line through there, just like this. Remember, you have to have arrows at the end. And then I'm going to shade. So again, this was a greater than inequality. So that means I'm going to shade everything greater than that line. So if there's my line, the greater than side is above it. So I'm going to shade everything that's greater than that line, just like this. Okay. Now, we are not done because we have a second inequality that we have to graph. So we're going to take that same process and just graph the second one. So I'm going to label out what my slope and y-intercept are. So remember, slope is the number in front of x. It's a whole number, so I can put it over 1. And then my y-intercept right here is just this number back here. So I've got 2 as my y-intercept. So I'm going to go ahead and graph it. I'm going to start at +2. So this one's a little bit tricky. When you are graphing the second one, you have to act as if that first one is not there. So try and imagine a blank graph. So we're going to start at +2. And then here's my slope. So I'm going to move up 3 spaces, right 1. Up 3, right 1, but I'm out of graph. So I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, left 1. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, left 1. So here are my dots. And like, if you have to lay your pencil right here so that way you remember them, because it's hard to do this with the first one already there, go ahead and do that. So now that we have it graphed, we have to answer the questions, what type of line am I going to draw, and then which way do I shade? So what type of line is going to be a solid line because of that or equal to bar. So I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm going to draw a straight line. Put some arrows on it. So remember, you're dealing with this line right here. So if you put your pencil down, because now we have to shade, and you don't want to shade the wrong line on accident. So this is y is less than. So this line right here where my pen is, I need to shade everything less than that. So that's going to be on the bottom side of this line. So notice I'm using a different color highlighter. And I'm going to shade everything on the bottom of this line. Okay? So now when we talk about the solution set, because normally if we're only doing one, it's just everything in the shaded region. Well, now that we have two, it's where they intersect or where they cross. That's how it was with linear equation systems. So system, still same. We've graphed two, we're looking at where they cross. Here's where they cross, where it made this like pretty orange color. This is your solution set. But the same rules apply about the whole solid versus dashed line thing. So these points that are sitting on this solid line are a solution, and the points that are sitting on this dashed line are not a solution. So if we pick any point in this orange region over here that I've shaded, it would be a solution. So for example, like 4, 1, which is over here, would be a solution to this system of inequalities. Okay, so now we're going to talk about example number 2. So the first thing, remember, is to check to see if they are in slope-intercept form. So this one, the first one, is in slope-intercept form, but this second one right here is not in slope-intercept form because this y is not by itself. So let's go ahead and fix this one before we graph anything. So this is y plus 2x is less than or equal to 1. So we have to get rid of this 2x right here. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides, just like that. Well, when you do that, these right here go away. And we're left with y is less than or equal to, this is 1 minus 2x. These don't combine, so we're going to have to write both of them. But go ahead and put that x in the front, so that way it's in slope-intercept form for us. And then that's a plus 1. So this right here is our slope-intercept form of our inequality that we're going to have to graph. Now, remember what I said in example 1. You have to graph one at a time completely before you do the other one. So we'll start with this first one up here. Let's label our slope and y-intercept. So slope is the number in front of x. It's where the m is, and that's going to be a 3. But remember, any whole number we see can be put over 1. So there's our slope. Our y-intercept is the b value. That's at the back. There is nothing there, which means it is 0. So now we can go ahead and start graphing this. So I'm going to start at 0 on the y-axis. And then this is how I'm going to move from that point. So I'm going to go up 3, right 1. Up 3, right 1. And then if I wanted to get more points down here, I would go back to the original. Down 3, left 1. Down 3, left 1. Now, remember, when you are, before you actually draw your line, we have to pay attention to our inequality, and we can tell two things from it. We can tell what type of line we're going to draw, and then which way we shade. So this is a less than, so we're going to draw a dashed line, because that or equal to bar is not there. So dashed line, there it is. And then I'm going to shade. Again, that's a less than, so I'm going to shade everything below this line right here. So I'm going to shade everything below. Now that that one is completely done, I have it graphed and shaded, I can go ahead and start on this second one. So keep in mind, I said it in that first example, you have to act like there's nothing already on this graph. So you have to act like it's completely blank and focus on the x and y axis to graph this one. So let's label out our slope and y-intercept. So my slope this time says -2, but remember that's over 1 because that's a whole number. And then my y-intercept is a +1. So when we go to graph it, act like nothing's there. And I'm going to go to +1. Plot me a dot right there. Don't pick up your pencil because now we're going to use our slope to get more points. So I'm going to go down 2, right 1. I went down 2 and left 1. My bad. That's why they invented whiteout, people. Let me just... Beep. Look, you can't even tell. Okay, I am human, so I do mess up. So let's try this again. There's my y-intercept, and I'm going to go down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. And then if I wanted to go the other way, it's up 2, left 1. Up 2, left 1. Okay, so now let's go back to our inequality because now we have to decide what type of line we're going to draw. And remember, I gave you a little hint that if you get confused on the dots, lay your pencil down or pen or whatever you're writing with on the dots so that way you know which ones you're about to draw. So that one has the or equal to bar, so I'm going to put my protractor down and draw a straight line, solid line. There's my line that I just drew. And now my inequality is less than or equal to, so I need to shade everything below that line. So this is the one I just drew. Everything below it is going to be on this side. So it's going to be all right here. And there we go. So remember that the solution set to a system of inequalities is where they intersect. So the solution set is really only in that space right there, in that orange space. So we could pick any ordered pair in that orange space and it would be a solution. All of these dots on the solid line are in the solution set. All of these dots on the dashed line are not. So just be careful whenever you're identifying ordered pairs that are solutions. Good job, and I'll see you next time in Unit 3.